We set the tone. Team deeper than the baritone. Like we split the group up, how we breaking bone. Better man up or get carried home. Then we carried on with the program. If my brother's going, then I'm going, fam. Don't make promises, I want the promised land. Couldn't pass you the torch, you might burn a hand. Gotta earn it, fam. I ain't come to be friendly, demand respect. Ain't gon' give it up easy off with your head. I deserve everything I'm about to get. Leave it all on the field, don't have nothing left. Think the boy is a bluff, put me to the test. That's on God, I'm official, don't need a ref. Get your weight up, little homie, you need some reps. Meet you up on the 50, you know the rest. One reflection, one team, one goal, one dream. We taking it to another level. Team hitting harder than heavy metal. Came here for respect, ain't gon' never settle. Pioneer League, there ain't nothing better. Light it up, 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 light it up.
Which is talking about drugs and guns and how sports is being affected. The champions of the Bronx. But what does that really mean? When you champion and have a championship, when you got so much gun violence eradicated. Like I said earlier about Damian Gilbert Jr., could have been a prominent player that played for the Bronx Knights. Coach Drake did all that he could to make sure that his players stayed abound. But something happened, and that's what these things do. I have to my right side Coach Patterson, that's over the Pioneer League and work with a lot of younger players and give them opportunities. Such as he has a mentoree that's here, age 22 to 23, and he's passing the torch early to make sure that these young men that are iron sharpening iron, being able to make sure that gun violence does not come into sports and entertainment. No form of entertainment. The game changes, we calling it is hip hop to hip hope. You're looking at the hope. Each and every last one of these young men, is the hope of today and tomorrow. So I would like to go by first, allowing them to introduce their names before I present them with their merits. That is a coach and player in regards to the Pioneer League and advising and letting them know what help is needed and what is it that can help him to help the younger players to be able to be game changers in this world of entertainment and sports. Introducing a young man that's making a big change. When I think of a name like Jackson, I think about the Jackson 5s as they was into entertainment the world and how they entertain the world. But this young man, Donald Jackson, he's making a change and making noise through the sports of entertainment. And not only do he play for the league or the Pioneer, but he's also giving back right away. And it won't be unpresidential. We will recognize you for your work and great leadership that you're doing. I bring to you none other than one of our young adults and what we talk about at the United Nations. A young man that's changing lives across the world globally. And he's gonna let you know what the needs are of the sport players. And he's going to also let you know about what's happening to some of them so that we can help at the UN. Donald Jackson, young man, we welcome you and we thank you. And I send our greetings from the Secretary General of El Salvador. He thanks you for your great leadership and your great sportsmanship. And thank you for changing the world of sport. Please, speak.
Hey, my name is Donald Jackson, and I coach youth Bronx coach out here. This is my head coach, Patterson. I don't like the violence out here. There's nothing to do in the streets. Let's get back on this. Like how back needs to be back in the day. Stay out of trouble. Make kids get their education. First thing to do, books. Oh man, this is nervous. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Take your time. Take your time.
It's books. Take the books, please. That's the main thing. Books is only. The streets, violence is nothing out here. Kids getting shot every day out here. Young age like that, 16, 13, 12, 11-year-olds, what are we doing? Nothing to do out here. Violence has to stop ASAP. We have to stop the violence right now. I don't like this. I'm sorry.
Thank you again. We have another young man that just approached from the Pioneer League. These are the young adults. This is what the UN is talking about. And then we're bringing them with Dr. Cabral and I, and we're championing across the world. And the next young man that's coming up, he's done a lot of great work and he's made a big change and make some differences. And I want him to come up. He just stepped up and he put his jersey on. I tell you, Coach, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing a great job with these young men. Introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name is Kenneth Otero. We're number 8. I play DM for the New York Patriots.
Okay, so I'm gonna step back, and what we're gonna do is allow you to express what is the needs of the young people in regards to, you know, a lot of gun violence and gangs be recruiting these sport players. And you guys are right there in the mix of it as young adults dealing with our young generation. So here you go. And he's another coach. So we thank the Pioneer League for what you're doing, for passing this torch on, and you won't go unserved with your marriage. We will serve you with marriage, okay?
Yeah, a lot of kids don't understand that sports is not only just a way of getting away from the streets, it's also a way, football is also a way of making you become a better person and a better man as you grow older. Being on a team teaches you structure and stability, so it helps you grow together as a family. And as Coach Patterson, we all a bond, a brotherhood. So we try to influence the youth as much as possible, because I've been there, so I've been in the streets, I've been there. I'm trying to tell the youth this is not the way to go. Football and books and trying to go to school is what you really want to do. Trying to get to a good platform as a young adult and as a young man. We want to do better and not just be a statistic to the streets and the environment.
And we thank you being here, and you will be honored for your marriage. Okay, we love you. God bless you.
My pleasure.
Okay, so as you heard from our young adults dealing with the sports, now I want to bring on another gentleman that I had the pleasure. He have allowed a young man by the name of Sean Gilbert with the Steelers. Coach Steelers, well, we'd like to thank the Steelers. They was the original first youth, Pioneer League youth and NFL youth that's out there doing things, that joined with me to fight against all forms of chronic illness. But without a great leadership, a great person that understands, there could be no big family of teams. What I love about the Pioneer League, there's no big I's and big U's, is what Coach Patterson speaks on. And he's always talking about on how can we serve the nation and joining with us in any form or way. So today we're going to present him with a merit as well. But before I even present those merits, I would love for him to come up in the absence of the Steelers and him being over the Pioneer Leagues to speak on this issue of gun violence and what's happening with our sports players. I present to you none other than from the Pioneer League and Tri-State Conference himself, that is none other than Coach Patterson.
Hey, how you doing? My name is David Patterson. I'm the owner of Pioneer Inc. It is a series of affiliations and teams that all are like-minded organizations. Those organizations are dedicated to keeping our youth off the streets and out of situations of gang violence and drugs and things that Ambassador Tate has dedicated his mission to, which is one of the reasons why we support his mission and everything that he does. See, the Pioneer is about connecting those affiliations, and amongst the organizations that are affiliated with the Pioneer League include Fordham University, Columbia University, a network of different youth programs, including the Tri-State Conference, and also high school programs as well, especially in the Bronx area, including Truman High School, Lehman High School, and a few others as well. Our network consists of over 50 teams that play football in the New York City area. We're dedicated to the mission of every single youth in our area that has an outreach when it comes to football should give back to their community, and that's why these two players I chose especially to come with us today, because not only are they taking advantage of the resources that the Pioneer League has. These two gentlemen just got back from 2 games in Canada, a schedule that consisted of 5,000 miles of traveling, and they have taken New York City football to all types of areas that have their certain stereotypes or ideas of what New York City youth is about. See, when you see these faces absent the uniforms, there are certain stereotypes and certain things that plague our community, and there's a lot of prejudice that goes on. And what we're here to do is to shine the light on the same faces that you might have certain ideas about or certain premonitions about, and let you know that when you see them in the corner store, you see them walking down the block, there's more likely of a chance that they're helping one of our youth players who's 10, 12 years old, all the way down to 6 7 and 8 years old as well. And just as likely are they to help you and to put you in a position to brighten up your day, contrary to the news which dwells on all the negativity and things like that. We also want to make sure that they take back into their communities with their counterparts that may not be handling the struggle as well, to let them know that there are other options out there besides gangs and this negativity or what have you. And you could have a great time and an absolutely amazing time with life and celebrate life in a very positive way, and have it be a better alternative than some of the lifestyles, destructive lifestyles that our youth are too often living at a very young age. See, we have to give them options that their suburban counterparts have, and if they were given them those options, we would find out more likely than not that they would choose those positive behaviors as opposed to the negative behaviors. And as a New York City educator myself who teaches literally 2 blocks away, I've taught some of my players, I've taught their brothers and sisters or what have you. We've gotten ourselves involved in cheerleading, we've gotten ourselves in basketball, we've gotten ourselves involved in public and private schools. So it's basically about anybody, and that's why we've taken the F out of PFL, and it's just a pioneer affiliation, and pioneer meaning the pathfinder. And in that pathfinder, being able to show people the way and show them the trail to success. And again, as long as Ambassador Tate is dedicated to that mission, and teams and organizations that are under the Pioneer umbrella do that, our mission will always be one that will be productive, and we look forward to serving our community. And it's an absolute honor for us to receive an award on behalf of the organization.
Well, I want to send my extended arm to you and from the Secretary General of the United Nations, and his ears are on ground zero of Salvador. That's Ambassador Carlos Garcia. We are talking about this, and we're looking forward in my 3-year seating of taking this with you and Coach and a lot of them, and we're going to get these soccer players involved so that we can be able to make this happen and really get our young people away from gangs and out of these streets, and they can stay where you guys can do your job. Thank you once again for your nation. I want to go with Hip Hop to Hip Hop and present these merits. And for these young men here, Coach, I just want you to know that we will be honoring some of those great men that's giving back and serving, because this is what we talk about at the United Nations. What are young people going to do? And it's up to these 2 generations here that I'm standing with that's going to actually be able to help us to see that sports and entertainment don't have violence in it. No form of violence, domestic violence, bullying violence, any form of hate crime or violence, any violence, period. It doesn't matter. It does not. Verbal violence. It all shouldn't be there. And that's why we want to thank once again our ambassador, Malik Abib from the International Human Rights, for standing with me, and he's with us from this day forward. So I'd like to present the first merit before we come, and that is a certificate of honors to Hip Hop the Hip Hop Tri-State Conference Pioneer League in the honor of those players and entertainers and humanitarians who serve the nation to uplift humanity. Rapping Tate, this day, August 11, 2018, in collaboration with Reverend Dr. Margarita Cabral, CIB, Christians in Business, and myself, humanitarian youth advisor to the Secretary General of El Salvador, Dr. Kelvin Rapping Tate, present this to the Tri-State Conference Pioneer League. Thank you so much, Coach, and your players for the great work that you all are doing. I'm standing once again. I am the Youth Advisor to the Secretary General of El Salvador. We send our greetings from our ambassador, and we're going to allow the Pioneer League to kind of give an explanation in regards to exactly the benefits and the great things and what comes out of, so that young people that may want to join this league and be a part of it, you can actually see on how Coach Patterson passes the torch to these new young brothers. So I'm going to turn the torch over to Mr. Leo.
How y'all doing? I'm part of the New York Patriots organization, along with the PFL. I'm one of the players and captains of the team. It's a great organization. There's so much we do. We travel. We actually just had 2 games in Canada just last week. We traveled up to Quebec, where that was a challenge, just, you know, speaking to people out there. They speak French and everything, so it's a whole culture change and everything.
Bonjour, that's about to sound like that. That's it.
I mean, it was amazing. We're always picking up like new players. There's like all year round, you know, everyone's welcome. We come in, we train guys up. we have this thing where like we're always traveling. So Canada's not our only stop. We've made it all the way to Providence, Rhode Island, Connecticut. We traveled all the way up to Maine, actually, twice so far. It was always fun. Like, we play a whole bunch of different level of talent. We've played guys who are NFL bound right now. Like, they're amazing. Competition and everything.
And then this is what I want to talk to each of you about, because you guys are coaches, and that's incredible to see 23, 24-year-old guys coaching already. Is unbelievable. So if I may, I'd like to hear from each of you all. What is that like? And you're a champ. You're lead. Okay, champ. Okay. So we're gonna let champ 1 and 1 speak. But go ahead, Leo, and then you pass the torch over.
Well, I actually got the whole coaching thing. I got into the coaching thanks to David Patterson. One of the other PFL teams needed some coaches, so we started coaching out there. And it's a whole different love for the game. Not only when you're a player, but coaching-wise too, you get to help these younger guys and help mold them to a right point. You know?
Okay. Introduce your name again.
My name is Kenneth Otero.
Coach. This is Coach.
It's Coach Kenneth Otero. Yeah. So as the whole coaching thing, man, it was a fun experience. It was great. As Leo said, we talked to David Patterson about it, and he told us the organization needed some help. So we stepped up and became volunteers and coached on that, and we really did our thing, and we helped mold it. It was more than just football with coaching. It was more about making sure we keep them off the streets and making sure they're on the right path, making sure they get home safe from practice, making sure we make it to games on time. So it was more than just football with the coaching thing. It was more, and the fact that we're so young, we can relate better to the youth that we're coaching, and it makes it much easier and help them grow as young men.
Well, like you say, this is where we come now. We have another coach, but first before I go to Coach, can you pick this one up? This is little Danny. He just came on board with us. I'm gonna call him Little Coach Danny if I can. Little Coach Danny, you have anything to say before we let Poppy Danny say anything? Okay. Oh, you got time. All right, so we're gonna let Coach Danny say something in regards to how can this world help coaches that's young like you, that's gonna be mentoring like Danny and younger ages in regards to this gun violence that's happening. How can they really help?
People can help by showing support. You know, mentors could always use a mentor. You know, the more mentors we have, the more we can grow as people, and the more information we can pass along down the line to the younger generations, make sure they stay out of trouble, they make sure they can make the right choices going forward in their life. Like some of us have hardships in our lives, and having a mentor who's also being mentored shows a great way to learn. There's always room for learning, there's always room for growth, and it always feels comforting knowing that you're not the only one going through a struggle, because some mentors share their struggles, so people feel more comfortable, they relate more, and they feel more open to sharing their feelings. And when you open up, you feel a little more at ease and you feel more confident in yourself. And it's all about growth and knowing the right way to go.
All right. Okay. So you just heard it from Coach Danny. You heard it from Coach Leo. You heard it from Coach Otero. You heard it from us, and you heard it from the future. And this is what Secretary General is talking about how do we use sustainable goals where these young guys can get their own businesses, as their coach of the league is. They can create their own younger league and get going. And then don't forget where they come from, but continue helping coach. As they league grow, they financially begin to get good, they come back and put finances back in with the league they started. Now, I have another young man, Mr. Jackson. I said it earlier, I was teasing him, that when I think of the Jacksons, I think about Michael Jackson and Jackson 5. But if I may, you know I'm only kidding, but also I'm serious, because he's using football to change young people from being in gangs and from guns. So I would like for him to elaborate on how can organizations continue to help coaches and leagues like yours to prevent these young people from being out in the streets in gangs? Brother Jackson, go Jackson.
Just hit the books. That's the only thing you have to do. Hit books, stay out of trouble, make the kids at a young age. This is I'm sorry, but I don't know.
Well, you heard it from him. I think that's real. I think we all will be in agreement that without knowledge, how can you get? Matter of fact, you have to know the positions and all of that. So we want to close out by saying thank you all. You heard it from here, from the Pioneer League and myself, Ambassador Tate. I'm the U.S. Vice Secretary General of Salvador. And don't forget, come on down at Church Alive. We're here right now live in the Bronx. And under the Bishop Burkett, he's actually got some great things going where we got all the church members going to be performing, and then we're going to have other members, regardless of rain, hail, sleet, and snow. One thing I love about the Moses of Dr. Burkett is he don't care as long as he cares about lives being saved. In his words, life being saved to Christ. Because he's 81 years old. Evidently he knows something, and he's teaching us. May God bless you, and may you continue to move forward. CIB, we out. Thank you.